All right, guys, welcome back to the ALGS channel. Hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day so far. Not gonna lie, I have been like going over this script for the last 30 minutes in an Australian accent for some reason. So if you hear a weird accent just coming out, just really don't mind it. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm doing it, but so you might hear me pronounce something weird and think, oh, he's trying to be cool. I'm really not. I'm so locked in right now to this Australian accent, I can't even explain it. But we've got to make mention of some Pro League qualifier, not only results, of course, we've got some tier lists going on for ALGS land, but a lot of people are wondering, of course, what's happening with FaZe and their update going on into the scene as well. A lot of stuff going on over on Reddit that we need to address in today's video. And then, of course, your Pro Series results as of late as well. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date with all things going on inside the world of Apex Legends esports news. And without further ado, folks, let's dive into what's happening right now. First thing, wanted to make mention, Oversight Pro Series Block 1 winner going in from Group B versus Group C. This was TSM. Obviously, no surprise here. These guys are quite frankly winning all the time, but honestly, it's a different story that I wanted to make mention of in this one. So you did have 19 teams. I guess you can take it a little bit more seriously in this one, but Furia in second place, Aurora in third place, and we're gonna draw back into Furia in just a second, but Boogie Borders in fourth, Disguised in fifth, and of course the list goes down from there. But then you go over into block number 2, A versus D, and you had Furia in first place. Obviously, Madness, Keon, and Vax with the roster change since his Watson's going to be stepping down permanently. And this one also had 19 teams competing in it. Aurora once again in that top 3 in second place. So really, Furia and Aurora are still like, you know, neck and neck with one another. But now that TSM's gone, they all just kind of moved up a slot, which I thought was pretty interesting. But Furia is the big one because look, you know, whenever they had his Watson, of course, they were a solid team. They had some moments of prosperity, I guess, where they did really good, had some great life in them, but it wasn't always that way. And if you remember back in the preseason, of course, Vaxlon on this team, there was like always some sort of hope with this roster. They were always looking really good. They were always in the top 3, to be honest with you, and they were always seemingly in first place. Though they had like, I think they were the most winning team inside of the preseason scrims during obviously the offseason before we went into split number 1. So now that they're back on the same roster again, they're all on land, by the way, currently at the Furia boot camp. They are looking really good, and I like that they're getting some real life time with one another, getting some good bonding moments so that they can have some I guess good trust in one another. Honestly, I think those real life relationships really help, and I think that's something we've lost in esports for quite some time, to be honest with you. But Aurora in second place. Obviously, I'm very interested to see how these guys compete over the next couple of days and weeks as well as we go into the playoff. And then Alliance, of course, got a chip on their shoulder with their new roster change after Yuki stepped down, and I think that they're going to fare pretty well inside of it as well. But Dark Zero in fourth, of course, still in that conversation. SSG still in that conversation. Moist Esports still in that conversation. Riddle, Cloud9, and 2R1C and Northeption in that top 10. But I mean, man, gosh, Keon is just absolutely packing, man. Just got to make mention of that. So very interested though. I think Fury is a whole new roster. I think we need to start giving them a little bit more respect, and obviously no disrespect to his Watson, but I just think that these guys, before that roster change happened, they were clicking so well. Seems like they've picked up right where they left off. Very excited for the future of this team, and happy for Vax, man. Vax is going from like complete 180, right? Struggling to try to win challenger circuit. Obviously, he's a next level talent. I think he was having a hard time meshing well with some other teammates down there, and then you go from that, to being like one of the best Pro League teams going into LAN, and probably the best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world right now, right? So, but very excited for Vax nonetheless. Also wanted to make mention of these Pro League groups that you might be seeing in Split 2. Actually, this is what you'll be seeing. It's just that we don't know all these teams from LAN quite yet. So LAN number 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 12 will be organized in such position. So of course, this doesn't necessarily mean first place from LAN, because obviously it might not be a North American team. It probably will be, but I'm hoping it won't. But I mean, sorry, I love North America. I'm just ready for somebody else to win. Anyways, so in order that North Americans place in this LAN playoff, of course, they will be organized back into split 2 groups, but we already know which groups will have some of these teams. So Exet will be in group A, Sentinels will be in group A, 9 Lives, which is actually not 9 Lives anymore. I think it's, most hated. CCE, Weave, Tripods will be in group A. So honestly, depending on who you're going to get in group A, it might be a TSM, it might be an LG. This could be a very dangerous group, but I think that the teams coming from like maybe, the CC side of things are probably going to fare pretty well and maybe feel like it's a little bit easier for them. Group B, on the other hand, is going to be LAN spot 2, 5, 8, and 11. And then you've got former Optic Gaming. So although Optic is leaving the scene, of course, this team is still registered for Pro League, and if they still, qualified as well. So then you've got the Pro League Eternal EC, Ape Gang, Edgers, NGNL, and Board. I honestly feel like this one could be that freebie group that a lot of people like to make mention of. And of course, it's never really free because you got to go against other groups anyways, but this may be one of the more easier groups to be a part of. We'll just have to wait and see how these LAN teams line themselves up. Also, Group C, you've got Drop In Gaming, Native Gaming, Oblivion, Gaming Gladiator, Stallions, and Temper. Another free-ish group, but honestly, whenever these LAN teams get plugged in, you never know what it's going to be, because it might not be as simple as TSM in LAN Spot 1 or Dark Zero. You might have a team that you weren't expecting place first place inside of North America, which can really throw these things out of whack. But nonetheless, here's where the Challenger Circuit teams and the relegated pro teams are going to find themselves if they went back through Pro League qualifier, or if they qualified through Pro League. Normally, it didn't have to go through the Pro League qualifier. Here's where those groups will stand. So thank you to Minus Tempo for putting that together. Also wanted to make mention of some Pro League qualifier news and updates. Of course, you had Nick Merckx coming out to congratulate the boys, Tripods, making it back into Pro League. It was a very good one, and by 1 point. Of course, this is the big story because they missed it by 1 point inside of the PSQs, and of course, they were in Pro League, I think, the year before, so it was a nice way for them to get back. Nick Merckx had tweeted at them, congratulating them, and then a lot of people were also wondering, well, what's going on with FaZe? And I bridged this gap on purpose, FaZe and Tripods, because there is some speculation that FaZe may look to sign Tripods, and only because we now know that they're not going to be signing Team Legacy, as Team Liquid is going to be signing Team Legacy. So a lot of people are coming out on Reddit, why was FaZe not competing in the Pro League qualifier? Now, we did cover this a couple of days ago, but just in case you missed it, Zera and Panders did come out obviously to say they were looking for a new team, they were exploring other options. Snipedown basically said he was going to give them that Pro League qualifier spot, right? So he was going to donate it to them, if you will, and FaZe was not going to be the necessarily organization behind this roster any longer. But doesn't mean that the spot gets forfeited, right? FaZe doesn't hold the spot. It's the roster that holds the spot. So the roster still had the spot. It seems like FaZe may be, either exiting the scene or maybe signing a Pro League team, or maybe even I thought someone that was going into LAN. But I think honestly the Pro League thing sounds a little bit more likely. But yeah, it just seemed more along the lines that these guys were going to part ways. That spot was going to be forfeited, and it seems like the Challenger Circuit had another team get invited back in. So instead of 22 teams, it was 23 teams, because that former Pro League spot team was opened up and was basically canceled out. So really weird and unfortunate situation, but of course we will take a look and see if any of these Pro League rosters make updates, and maybe some of those guys that didn't play in Pro League qualifier, maybe they had a reason as to why they didn't. They might be making some roster changes inside of Pro League as well. But the other side of this is that many people are wondering if Tripods are going to get signed by FaZe, because here's the double-edged sword, right? There's no words from FaZe yet, but the old FaZe roster disbanded to go their separate ways, and that's why they didn't play PLQ. FaZe is still a partnered org, so you would suppose that they're either going to pick up Tripods, but if they are, they haven't announced it yet. SSG, on the other hand, has offered to take the FaZe partnered org spot if they aren't interested in Apex anymore, but there's no word on this either. Now, the reason why people were normally like, oh, FaZe is not going to go anywhere, right? Because they're in that partnered organization. But it seems like that's not really holding any weight any longer, this EA partnership program, because Optic Gaming has already left Apex, and Dropped basically made it seem like Optic told them they didn't want to be a part of Apex at all anymore. So unfortunately, other than content creators, of course, but as far as the pro scene goes, it looks like it wasn't that big of a deal. So I wouldn't be surprised if FaZe decides to step out of Apex completely and give it up again. Now, of course, this will probably open some spots, and we're already expecting EA to try to extend this partnership program, and maybe some other teams inside of the APAC North, APAC South, these teams that have been a part of the scene for quite some time. Oxygen Esports, right? Like I'm assuming these guys are going to get another opportunity to be involved pretty soon. So hopefully that is the case. And of course, we want the best for Apex Legends. I know it's news to talk about when bad things happen, but I don't want the game to go in a negative direction. But that's the latest on the whole FaZe situation. A lot of confusion about that over on social media in the last couple of days. Also wanted to mention Sabz, of course, from the TSM Phoenix squad. You guys saw that she did not qualify either, and they're going to be looking for a new team. Also, she posted earlier, LFT for ALGS looking to build a new team or join an established duo that wants to put in time and grind. So of course, what started as the TSM, like, you know, girl squad with Janie and co, and then of course they had their ALGS thing because they were on opposite sides of the world. They couldn't really do the same thing with ALGS anyways. All that stuff is kind of dispersed. It's kind of spread out at this point. It's no longer the same. And honestly, just as individuals now looking for new teams and new spots, and I think that there's a lot of good players out there that would probably be interested in some of these roster changes as well. Also, just as we wrap the video up, had to make mention of this. This is coming from two Apex casters, Dia and Zephyr, and then also you've got Chrono, right? The guy from Oversight Pro Series and the Oversight esports industry as well. So here was their specific tier list. Of course, you guys saw mine a couple of weeks back, and it got a lot of hate. Honestly, I think some of this is pretty similar here, but TSM and Dark Zero are the clear favorites inside of the S tier. At the time, I think I put Moist up there as well. Maybe I would agree with this new list, right? Maybe take Moist back down to A. TSM and Dark Zero still up there. If you saw the, you know, the power ranking stuff that we made mention of yesterday, it was totally out of whack, and TSM was nowhere near the top. Very interested to see how, you know, people perceive things. But SSG inside of the A tier: Moist Esports, Aurora, Furia, Fnatic, EA Alliance, Wonton Dumpling, Reject Winity, Legacy, DSG, TYK, and LG inside of the A tier. I think I agree with those as well. Maybe TYK, you know, kind of flip around. I can see maybe with Boogie Border sometimes, you know, just depends on the day, really. Sometimes they have good days, sometimes they don't. B tier would be Legends Gaming. Then you've got BR Demons, and you've got 2 Rats 1 Controller, Cloud9, 07, Virtus Pro, MDY White, Oxygen Esports, Kinnetrip Gaming, Omit, Made in Heaven, and Boogie Borders. Then for C tier, you've got Northception, Riddle Order, Crazy Raccoons, Navi, Passion, HAO, Heroes, Geared Gaming. Then you've got, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I almost called this thing Bluetooth, and I literally have no idea who these last 4 teams are by their logos. I'm getting confused here. I know that 2 of these bottom teams are from like the invited teams from the Republic of China or such. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think overall, though, very solid list. I like what they put together, and I think we can all agree more than likely it's just going to be someone from S and A to win this tournament. If I had to pick a team from B that could win the tournament or that might win the tournament, I would say Oxygen is probably the most likely to win inside of B. And it's not that they've been playing great lately, but I think that they are solid enough. I think they have that experience over time where we'll probably see some good gameplay out of them. And they've been there, right? They've been at the top. They know what they're doing. And I just see them as probably one of the better B teams, maybe even Legends Gaming. So I would, or even 2 Rats 1 Controller, I could see them popping off and having a good day as well. So that's probably my dark horse team inside of the B tier. I wouldn't say anybody else other than that is going to win this tournament. I think honestly it's 99.9% sure that S or A tier is probably going to win this. And if I get that wrong, then I probably just need to drop my entire life saving into some stupid crypto coin at this point. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below about all the topics mentioned in today's video. Like and subscribe if you guys want to stay up to date with all things inside of the world of Apex Legends esports news. And until the next time, we will see you all later, Gators.